So it reads, "Thank you for giving me a chance to fall in love with you all over again." And I knew it was most likely Harley to Jack or Jack to Harley, whichever way. But it would have been so funny. It would have been so funny if it was Jack to Batman. It would just been another point in the Bat Joker counter. Hello everyone, my name is Nadia Lee Owens and welcome to Bi Black and Bookish, a Booktube channel where a bi black girl disappears for like half a year and comes back with a new hyperfixation. And this time that hyperfixation is Batman. Less Batman actually, and more like the Bat family. My two favorites being Jason Todd and Ghostmaker, because I just love murderous muscled men. And in all honesty, I think Batman's kind of a punk ass bitch. Ain't gonna lie, I think that I can beat Batman with prep time. I also I know I can take down Superman, because in the DCU, everyone and their mother has a kryptonite. So I think I can easily take down Superman. But the question is if I can take him down. It's if I have the heart to. And I don't think I do, because Superman is baby. He's my precious, precious alien baby. But anyway, so while I've been away for like 6 months, I've been reading a bunch of comics. I should have like a little clip of all the ones I collected in the span of only like a few months. But those comics also include Batman the White Knight by Sean Murphy. And if you're into comics, I'm sure that you've at least heard about it, and most likely heard that there's like high praise for it. But I'll have to disagree on that. So before we get into the overview, I want to make it clear that the White Knight isn't a part of the main comic canon, which I want to state like right off the bat, because I think there are a good majority of comic fans that are like obsessed with something being comic accurate, and I think that's kind of bullshit, because DC has rebooted / relaunched their comics like 5 times in the past 20 years. At this point, I don't think comic accurate exists. So sure, there are essential aspects of a character that shouldn't be changed, like the fact that Batman and Superman don't kill, but Wonder Woman for sure does, which is why she's the superior of the trio. So like the only canon that truly exists is my own. If I want to pretend that Batman never sliced Red Hood's throat with a batarang to save the Joker of all people, or like the entirety of the Battle for the Cowl storyline, then those things never happened. They don't exist. While I've seen the majority of good reviews for The White Knight, the poor reviews I have come across are really only complaining that it's not comic accurate, like ignoring the fact that this is basically like a Bat Jokes AU fan fiction. So that's not really my beef with this series. The first issue opens with a Batmobile driving up to Arkham Asylum. A white, brown-haired man walks up to a cell that holds Batman to ask him for help. This man turns out to be Jack Napier. I'm 90% sure I'm mispronouncing that name. But anyway, so he is a name for Joker that is really only mentioned, I believe, in the Tim Burton movies, as far as I know. And it's implied that this is Joker's actual name. So cut to a year ago, Batman, Nightwing, and Batgirl are in the middle of a dangerous high-speed chase to pursue the Joker, who's wearing like a Joker shirt. He's a real fanboy. He's his #1 fan. So they wind up at a building that stores drugs that are going to be tossed by the FDA. Batman and Joker tussle a bit while Joker claims that they are team, even a power couple, and minus the makeup sex, but Batman denies it, and this really starts a constant trend of Bat Jokes moments. And if you don't know, Bat Jokes is Batman and Joker's ship name. So to prove that they need each other, Joker threatens to take mysterious pills that would make him sane. So Batman shoves them down his throat, all while mysterious figure videotapes it all. Everyone discusses the brutality of the video and how the Gotham City Police Department just watched and didn't do anything. Joker is in the hospital while Bruce tells Dick and Barb that Alfred has been sick for some time and he is being treated by Freeze Tech. We get another Bat Joke scene where Batman visits Joker while he's in his jail cell, and Joker bemoans about their relationship, saying, "You hated me and I loved it." So Joker, now Jack, is ruled as cured both mentally and physically, and he is building a legal case against both Batman and the GCPD for the brutality and damage the chase caused, as if he had nothing to do with it. But anyway, in the second issue, Jack successfully pleads his case and that he shouldn't be held accountable for his crimes as Joker, and pledges to build a library in Backport, a borough in Gotham that is low income and mostly black and brown citizens. Throughout this series, there's this weird comparison between Jack/Joker and social justice movements like BLM. Not only that, but Jack starts calling himself Gotham's White Knight, like literally poses himself as a white savior for black folks, despite the fact that he's been the white guy terrorizing their neighborhood. It just doesn't sit right with me, because while I'm sure the black citizens of Gotham resent or even hate Batman, because he very specifically tends to target low income neighborhoods, I do feel as if they hate Joker even more, because he's the one who causes problems in those neighborhoods. You get what I mean? I feel like a better villain to represent the struggle of poor black citizens of Gotham would have been Killer Croc, who himself is black. Anyway, Jack goes back to Harley, who is so upset that he is not Joker anymore that she attacks him. Then it turns out that Harley's a fake Harley, and the real Harley saves him and knocks out the fake one. And then the real Harley tells him that she left after realizing that his Batman obsession has gone so far that he kidnapped Robin, Jason Todd, and may or may not have killed him. Harley even tells Jack that it wasn't me that you were in love with. There's like even a scene where Joker's like crying at like an altar that he has for Batman. But still, Harley agrees to work with Jack for his new plan to save Gotham. First part of the plan, use Mad Hatter's mind control tech on Clayface and infect pieces of Clayface into the Rogue so they can control them all. At the start of the third issue, we are introduced to Neo Joker, the fake Harley bent on bringing Joker back. At this point, we kind of established that this is a Bat Jokes fan fiction, right? So I understand that they are the primary focus, but still none of the main female characters seem to have motivation outside of Batman and or Joker, other than maybe Renee Montoya, who is a character in this story. She's part of the police force, but she rarely ever speaks, which is why this is the first time I've mentioned her. Meanwhile, Jack uses the Rogues Gallery to stage an attack on the financial district and also the library and Backport that he built, To cover the stealing of some important documents, Batman is gravely injured in the attack, and he makes his way to the Batcave and passes out near Alfred. When Bruce wakes up, he is in Alfred's hospital bed, and Alfred is dead. With the stolen docs, Jack publicly announces his proof of a Batman Devastation Fund that he claims the taxpayers paid for. And here I started to feel a little annoyed that Jack keeps on talking about Batman and how Batman needs to be held accountable, all while he refuses to be accountable for his own actions as the Joker. I feel like in Joker's case, an insanity plea can only go so far. Even with an insanity plea, you do end up having to at least go to a mental institute, seek professional help. You just don't get off scot-free like Jack seems to. But anyway, it's just further proof that this has nothing to do with saving Gotham and more to do with his weird piss contest he has going on with Batman, or his weird love for him. Depends on how you want to read it. It feels like a white savior storyline, and like with all white saviors, they never actually really care about the cause they are working for or claiming to work for. They really only care about how it benefits them. After Alfred's funeral, Dick and Barb stand over Alfred and Bruce's parents in Jason Todd's grave and discuss how Batman has become more brutal and Gotham needs protection from him. It is also revealed that there's an age reversal thing going on in White Knight, where instead of Dick Grayson, it's Jason Todd that's the first Robin. And if you don't know, typically Jason Todd is the second Robin. I think it's safe to assume that it's Dick Grayson in this case. Jack and Harley go to Backport to gain Duke Thomas's trust, who is also older than he usually is. And if you don't know Duke Thomas, I can't fault you for that because I feel like DC rarely ever puts him in stuff. Dick Thomas is another Bat Kid. He is known as the Signal. He also was the main character in the We Are Robin storyline, where there was a gang of kids who were all claimed to be Robin, because I believe all the Bat family was kind of indisposed at the moment. So there was a gang of kids claiming to be Robin in order to protect the streets of Gotham. I think that's a really cool concept. So anyway, Jack and Harley are able to gain Duke's trust, and with that they are hoping to also gain the trust of the rest of Backport. Meanwhile, Neil Joker tracks down Mad Hatter and gets another mind control device to override Jack's signal. Fourth issue, there is a protest in Backport led by Jack and Duke to get the resident support. And the moment where all these black and brown folks are cheering for Jack the Joker is how I know this was written by a white man, because I can't imagine any black person with any sort of self-respect actually siding with the Joker in this blatant pandering move, even if it's a reformed Joker. I just can't see it. Joker is still just a domestic terrorist with a history of targeting average citizens and refuses to take responsibility of his own actions. All I'm saying is he ain't getting my vote. The protest is blocked by the GCPD, and as soon as an argument starts, Batman swoops down to attack Jack, an incident that is once again all over the news. At the police department, Jack shares his plans to use the Devastation Fund to form the Gotham Terror Oppression to enforce the Bat family to work within the GCPD, and mostly with Jack. Jack and Harley gets engaged. Meanwhile, Neil Joker uses the mind-controlled rogues to attack Gotham and ambush Jack to demand the return of Joker, but Jack refuses. Gordon gives Batman a heads up about the GTO. Nightwing and Batgirl are told by the GTO by Jack, Harley, and Gordon where they would work for the GCPD and even get their own Batmobile. Neo Joker and Mad Hatter hack into some secret files that showed the Wayne's family with Baron von Freeze, father of Mr. Freeze, a known former SS officer. They were working on labs in a secret network of tunnels. Now, I don't really care about Comic Canon, like I've said before. But I still believe there are some constants in comics, like Uncle Ben being dead, and another constant, at least to me, that some may not see as a constant or even like know about. For a while, I've assumed that Martha Wayne was Jewish. And this is something I don't think was initially done on purpose, but when the writers established that Batwoman, aka Cat Kane, is Jewish, and she, 9 times out of 10, I do believe she's written as a Jewish character. And if you don't know, Kate Kane is Bruce's cousin. So if she is Jewish from her father, who is the sibling of Martha Wayne, then it's safe to assume that Martha Wayne was also born and raised Jewish. So with that being said, it feels weird to imply the Waynes would work with a known Nazi, but who am I? In the 5th issue, Jack's pills are starting to make him sick, but that's not stopping him from training with Harley in like hand-to-hand combat. And as it turns out, the pills are also steroids. So Jack's kind of ripped now. While investigating, Batman and Nightwing get into a fight after him and Batgirl mention GTO. So on Goodreads, I read a review where someone was complaining about the animosity between the 2 previous Robins and Batman. And boy, do I have real bad news for them, because I cannot think of a Batman series where Dick and Jason are not in some sort of screaming match or like a straight up brawl with Batman, other than maybe like Wayne Family Adventures, but that's just fluff. It's really cute fluff and I do love it, but it is just fluff. Batman goes to Harley to try to convince her to stop Jack like she did once before with the whole Jason Todd situation. But Harley refuses. Instead, she suggests that Batman and Jack aren't that different and could help Gotham together. Batman and Jack/Joker being similar is something that I would disagree with, though I think their only similarities really are the fact that they're kind of both obsessive and have like a penchant for violence. Other than that, I feel like their entire purpose as characters is the fact that they are polar opposites, order versus chaos. And I guess that's one of my issues with this series in of itself. It's not the fact that it's not comic accurate or any of that bullshit. It doesn't feel like a true understanding of the character of Batman or Joker and the relationship that they have. It feels wrong. Meanwhile, Neo Joker uses Poison Ivy to break into Wayne Manor to find a secret room with the plans of the tunnels that Thomas Wayne and Baron von Freeze made. Ivy also senses other rooms below the manor, but before they could investigate, Bruce comes in a cute pink fuzzy like bathrobe, and they run off in fear of the police. The police, along with Nightwing, arrive soon after and start a chase joined by Batgirl, Montoya, Duke, and led by Gordon and Jack. Despite the warnings, Batman also joins in the chase and causes the bridge to collapse. And then Batman finds the picture of his parents with Baron von Freeze and goes to demand Mr. Freeze for answers. Meanwhile, Neo Joker has found a giant ice gun in the tunnels made by Baron von Freeze. The sixth issue really builds up to the climax of the last two issues. Gordon demands to know who Batman is, but both Nightwing and Batgirl refuse to snitch. And Jack sides with them, saying they need to bring in Batman, not the man behind the mask. So they devise and execute a plan to catch Batman. Jack even tells Nightwing that he is making the right decision in arresting Batman. So Nightwing punches him in the face. This violent and angry version of Nightwing is probably not what most recent fans of Nightwing are used to. It's very much reminiscent of Dick in the 80s to 90s when he was just really going through it. He was really in his emo phase during that time. So it's probably a turn off to some, but I don't know. I like emo Nightwing. He's funny. Anyway, Batman and Jack get into a fist fight that Jack managed to win somehow. I guess it's the steroids. I never would have thought that I would actually be saying that Joker beat Batman in a fist fight, but here we are. While Batman is thrown into Arkham, Neo Joker uses the ice cannon to freeze Gotham and demands the Joker. Batgirl goes to Mr. Freeze and he details how his father pioneered freeze tech and Thomas Wayne wanted to use it for a medical lab, but the Baron and the War Department wanted to use it as a weapon, so they kicked Thomas Wayne out and Mr. Freeze left with them. This little tidbit really had me thinking, what the fuck is the timeline for this universe? If the current story is going on around the time when the series was being published, so around I want to say 2016, 2017, then, and his parents were well into adulthood after World War II, so around 1945, how old were they when they had Bruce? How old is Bruce? What year is it in White Knights? And none of these questions are answered. For Jake, the drugs are starting to fail him, and during a press conference to address Neo Joker, Joker breaks free. The penultimate issue starts right where the last issue ended. Jack is quickly able to get back control. Batgirl and Nightwing go to Batman's prison and ask why he hasn't broken free, and he says because Harley asked him. After Jack, Harley, and Gordon go to confront Neo Joker, Harley convinces Jack that the only way to stop her is by working with Batman. Batman agrees, but only if Jack admits that he was behind the attacks and tells him what happened to Jason. Jack is able to remember how Joker was jealous of Jason, and Jason broke down and said, "I wish I never met Bruce Wayne." Then Joker let him go so the game would continue. Jack also admits that he knows Batman is Bruce Wayne because Bruce Wayne pays for all of the Batman Devastation Fund, which is a detail that I do really love, because the only time I like Batman is when the story makes sure to highlight his humane side. So Batman and the GTO work together to devise a plan to stop Neo Joker, with Jack/Joker riding with Batman. Before they head out, Batman reconciles with Nightwing and Batgirl, and listen, despite being an asshole 80% of the time, Batman really cares for his kids. He just doesn't know how to show it, which is why I love reading Batman is a Good Parent fanfiction. He's definitely the kind of dad who only knows how to say I love you by randomly putting an exorbitant amount of money in his kid's bank account, which is more or less canon, I think, in the DCU, because apparently the Robins have allowance or something, and it's probably like a stupid amount too. Finally, the finale. So in the collection for White Knight, there's a page between each issue that has a quote from the next one. In the final quote, it reads, let's see. So it reads, "Thank you for giving me a chance to fall in love with you all over again." And I knew it was most likely Harley to Jack or Jack to Harley, whichever way. But it would have been so funny. It would have been so funny if it was Jack to Batman. It would just been another point in the Bat Joker counter. So while Batman and Jack are making their way to Neo Joker, Joker takes over again and excited to be working with Batman, even calling himself Robin. A fight breaks out between the GTO and Neo Joker and her mind-controlled rogues. Joker punches Neo Joker in the face, causing her to lose the mind-control device. So Clayface is able to like reform and starts attacking everyone because he's really pissed about being used like that, and I would too. After this, there's a moment where Jack tells Harley, "Only you knew Joker's biggest secret, that buried inside of him was a good man." And I'm like, what the fuck? The absolute audacity to claim Joker is a good man deep down. The man is a pure agent of chaos. I am not a fan of Joker, but I think he is at his best when you don't apply normal morals to him by having him be some sort of like anti-hero. I think it really only worked with Harley because it was easy to spin her as someone who got swept up in something that wasn't really something she was interested in. But you can't do that. You can't do that with Joker. It just doesn't work out. Anyway, they still managed to shut down the freeze tech, and Jack seemingly dies in an explosion while chasing Neo Joker, but Batman saves him in the nick of time. Harley captures Neo Joker and nearly kills her because, again, she briefly thought Jack was dead. And in the end, Jack is taken to Arkham and marries Harley right before he reverts permanently to Joker. With Nightwing and Batgirl, Batman reads the letter Alfred left him. And this is my favorite moment in this series because it just really emphasizes that the Bats are like a family, and the heart of that family is Sir Alfred Pennyworth. Joker's confession is released, and with Duke, Harley builds Backport an actual library. Batman confronts Harley about how she orchestrated the Joker becoming sane scheme, and even points out that she is the White Knight, which I hate the fact that they're calling them White Knights. Again, it's just reminiscent of a whole white savior thing, and I just don't really like it. Batman goes to Commissioner Gordon and agrees to let the GTO keep the Batmobiles. And I'm sorry, Batsy, but I don't think the solution is further militarizing the police. But that's just my opinions. This is from the girl who's wearing the shirt that says bottoms and tops. We all hate cops. So Batman tells Gordon, "I enjoy hurting criminals, Jen. I don't use a gun and I don't take lives, but that doesn't always make me the good guy. Sometimes it's vindication to be as brutal as I want, and that made criminals like the Joker even worse. Sometimes I'm not sure why I wear the mask. Is it to scare them, or is it because I scare myself?" And this is probably the most honest characterization of Batman I've ever seen. The most honest Batman has been about himself, for sure. This bitch needs therapy. He's pushing 50. He needs to just go to a therapist. And then at the end, to gain Gordon's trust, Batman reveals himself to be Bruce Wayne. And that is Batman White Knight. The art was okay. My main critique being that Murphy seems to only know how to draw one body type for the female characters. They all relatively looked like each other, just kind of color swapped. There were moments where I really enjoyed the characterization of Batman and how the series really highlights the obsessive nature of Batman and the Joker's relationship. But the parallels between actual social justice movements felt weird, and I couldn't really tell what Murphy was trying to say by doing that. Was he condemning them or praising them or just trying to be relevant? I can't really say. I also don't like Jack slash Joker, but I can't really blame Murphy for that because I just don't like Joker. Overall, I gave this series 3 stars out of 5. The Lego Batman movie was frankly just a better Bat joke story, a close second being the Telltale Batman game. I do have the sequels, so hopefully I'll like those a little bit more. So let me know if you've read Batman White Knight and what's your opinion on it in the comments below, or talk to me on Twitter or Instagram at @Lee_Owens. Hope to see you next time when I do another video in like 6 months, either a read-along video or a baking video inspired by the Greshaverse. So until then, bye!